Hi guys, ever thought about making your own game? Well, you are in luck because today we are breaking down the step for game development in 2024. Over the years, I have been a game community manager, and just a few months back, I switched from being a DevOps engineer to a full-time game developer, and I'm here to share what I've picked up along the way. But let me tell you something cool. You don't need to be a computer scientist, math or physics guru. Seriously, the need for those depend on the type of game you intend to design. So join me, let's dive right in. Alright guys, the first item on our list is types of game. Before we build games, we need to know the type of game we want to design so we can know what to learn. But hold on, I know you are thinking of building your own Call of Duty or GTA 6, but we have to start from the basics. Well, there are two popular types of game. We have 2D and 3D, and these are very much available on console, PC, and mobile. So let me break down the difference between 2D and 3D. Some of us from the Nokia Express Music era might relate to games like Pirate of the Seven Sea, Beowulf, and Soul of Darkness. These games are known as 2D because they are in two dimensions. They are still popular and available today. We have some still around like Tetris. Now, let's talk about 3D games. These are played on high-end devices like PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile phone. Examples include God of War, Mortal Kombat, and even Subway Surf. These are three-dimensional games, which means they have a more lifelike look and offer a more immersive gaming experience with a realistic graphics and gameplay. Alright guys, so those are the two popular types of games that we have. Now that we know them, we need to pick one. But we should remember we want to start something that we can finish. We should see this as a marathon and not a sprint. It's important to start something simple and we can complete. And with this, we can build our skill gradually rather than going for something big that we abandon at the end of the day. But we should also remember game developer have lots of abandoned projects, including me. I have so many abandoned projects. So now let's move on to the next step. Well, the second item on our list now are game engine. What are game engine and why do we need a game engine? We should see a game engine as more like a pot that will combine several ingredients like music, videos, audio files, 3D mesh or 3D models. And then this game engine combine all this together and then split out a complete video games. But that's not how simple it is. But this is majorly what game engine does. Should we build one ourselves or should we use existing game engine? Well, we can actually build a game engine ourselves, but we should not really do that, but we can if we are feeling adventurous. But over the years, people have poured out their resources and knowledge into building a game engine and they have provided them for us to use. So now we're going to break down the available types of game engine and how we can use them. All right. So for the purpose of this video, I'll be grouping the available game engine into three categories. We have one, the proprietary, two, the open source, and three, UGC. What are proprietary game engine? Proprietary game engines are game engines that are owned by a company. Some companies provide their game engine for people to use, while others don't. The two popular companies that provide their game engine for us to use are Unreal and Unity. We have several companies that does this, but for the sake of this video, let me just stick with these two. Now, these game engines are not totally free. Some we need to pay after our game hits some milestone. So if you are using a proprietary game engine, you should keep in mind that at the end of the day, you are going to be paying the company depending on the success of your game. Now let's move on to the open source thing. For the open source arena, the most popular game engine that we have available right now is Godot. This is an open source game engine that is available for us to use for free. So regardless of the success of our game, whatever we build with Godot, we are going to keep the profit to ourselves 100%. So this is just what the open source is all about. Now let's move on to the UGC. UGC are simply user generated content. And what do this mean? These are games that allow us to build games on them. And we have examples like Fortnite, Roblox, and the Sandbox. So with these games, we can build our own game using their provided tool. And Fortnite provides is game builder, same with Roblox. So this is just what we mean by UGC. So these are games that allow us to build games on them. So these are the three popular categories that we can group the available game engine. So for us as a beginner, we need to decide which one we are going with. If we want to stick with the UGC, where we don't need to write so much code, then this is actually fine. But if we still want to go on and publish our game ourselves, Then we need to decide between the proprietary and the open source game engine. All right, guys. So now let's talk about the final item on our list, which is the tools for a game developer. Well, these tools are used by game developer on a day-to-day basis. Regardless of the kind of game you are making, either 2D or 3D, you eventually need some of these tools. So let me break them down for you. All right. So the first item on our list is a laptop. We need a laptop with at least 8 gig of memory and a 256 or a 500 gig SSD. This is ideal for beginner, but as you progress, you might need a more powerful one. The second item on our list is a text editor. You might need to write some code eventually. I recommend going with VS Code. This is very popular and there are so many extensions available for free. The third item on our list is design and prototyping tool. Figma is great for UI design and game flow planning. It's a powerful tool for creating interface. The fourth item on our list are graphic software. Krita is an alternative to Photoshop and Inkscape is an alternative to Adobe Illustrator. This is handy for creating non-destructive image editing based on math known as an SVG. The fifth item on our list is for audio editing. We can use Audacity for sound editing and audio capturing. We can also use Soundtrap and Vid. These are browser-based alternatives that are worth trying out. And now the final software that is very, very important. This is for 3D modeling. Blender is a versatile software for 3D and 2D content creation. It's used in movie, games, and animation, and more. And if you're into 2D games, you might not need Blender. Alright, guys, so that will be all. In conclusion, getting started with game development might be overwhelming at first, but as we progress, it tends to become easier. First, I would suggest you should get acquainted with the interface of this software. If you're using Krita, you should get acquainted with the interface. How do you create an image? How do you create any document? How do you export this document as an image file? And if you're getting started with Blender, I would suggest that you should get acquainted with the interface. How do you create a new project in Blender? How do you export this project? And how do you texture it? These are very, very important because at the end of the day, these are the day-to-day activities that you're going to be using. So guys, thanks for joining in. Until the next time. Bye.